Days of Our Lives spoilers hint that Sarah Horton Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis romance could add to Xander Kyriakis' fury. Could Philip become a new father figure for Victoria Kyriakis and enrage Xander in the process? Philip is partly to blame for Xander going off the rails, but Days fans know Xander is still in charge of his own choices. No one forced Xander to sink as low as he did when he retaliated against Philip, so Xander has to face the consequences of his actions. Jada Hunter just arrested Xander, so he's already feeling those consequences right about now. However, Days spoilers say there could be more ramifications for Xander, even ones that extend beyond the police station or courtroom. Sarah obviously has sympathy for ailing Philip since Xander put him in the hospital. Philip will ultimately make a full recovery and could perhaps develop a stronger bond with Sarah after everything that's happened. Could Sarah eventually fall for another Kyriakis brother, namely Philip, who's become Xander's arch-nemesis at this point? We can't think of a better way to make Xander suffer than to have Sarah move on romantically with Philip. That's especially true since Sarah is keeping Xander away from Victoria and on the verge of forcing a custody feud, one that probably won't be hard for her to win. Can you imagine how livid Xander will be if Philip gets together with Sarah and starts playing daddy to Victoria? Philip could essentially take over Xander's life and leave his brother absolutely furious. Of course, we're not saying Sarah and Philip are going to become the next day's super couple. Philip and Sarah may not build any kind of lasting relationship, but pairing them up for a while would be a good DOL writing strategy to add to Xander's pain and anger. That said, we still have faith that Xander and Sarah might be able to work things out down the road. It'll naturally take time, but Sarah, Xander, and Victoria could become a real family again sooner or later. Until then, Sarah and Philip might have something brewing between them. So stick with us for updates on any romantic news that might be coming up. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Xander will continue to pay the price for what he did to Philip, so stay tuned. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, May 30, reveal that Eric Brady and Will Horton will return as John Black faces some bedside goodbyes. Kristen DeMera will also grill DeMera, so let's discuss what's coming up on DOL. For starters, Johnny DeMera will get lost in his own thoughts. We'll see Johnny isolate himself and struggle with some tough emotions due to everything that's happened with EJ. As for Kristen, she'll back EJ into a corner and push for some answers. Since Rachel Black saw Johnny with a gun the night EJ was wounded, it's easy to see why Kristen will launch a grilling session. Days spoilers say Kristen will put EJ on the spot and most likely demand to know if he's covering for Johnny. It's possible Kristen will try to use this as leverage, but EJ may ultimately call her bluff. Kristen doesn't want Rachel to have to testify. Not to mention Kristen and Brady are already on thin ice with Child Protective Services. It's too risky for Kristen to spill anything about Johnny to the cops, so she won't be coming forward. Kristen will plan on keeping Brady Black quiet as well. But EJ surely won't be happy if he finds out his sister blabbed about Johnny to her ex. Regardless, it'll be interesting to see which way Brady's tiebreaker vote goes when it comes to the future of the hospital. Since Xander Kyriakis just got arrested for what he did to Philip Kyriakis, there's a good chance Brady will vote with EJ as the lesser of two evils. As for the whole Johnny situation, there's more to the story of what really went down. Johnny isn't the guilty party, so this mystery has more layers to unravel. Other Days spoilers say a couple of big DOL returns are on the way. Will's coming home to support John, so he'll have a sweet reunion with Marlena Evans as well. Days viewers can also expect to see Eric make a comeback in Friday's episode, so look for him to spend some time at John's bedside along with Brady, Belle Black, and Paul Narita. Although John's loved ones will cheer on his recovery, they won't realize they're essentially saying goodbye. John's health is about to decline rapidly and will leave him facing a grim fate soon enough. Days of Our Lives spoilers say John's fatal exit storyline is already underway, so stay tuned for updates on the awful news that's looming. We know just reading that headline might get under folks' skin a bit. Since Days of Our Lives, Xander snapped and beat Philip in one of the most brutal scenes in recent memory. Fans have not been happy at what has seemed like an unraveling of the former baddie's progress. And then there was the big fight between Sarah and Xander that culminated in her throwing him out of the house, telling him it's finally over, and warning him that Victoria will not be going with him. And the rift that finally seems to have ended the relationship between Xander and Maggie. It's a lot, and Paul Telfer and Lindsay Godfrey know that. Heck, they feel it more than anyone, what with having to put Xander and Sarah through these absolutely brutal scenes. Fortunately, though, they put things into perspective in a way that has us excited and hopeful about the future once again. We understand fans wanting us together, Godfrey tells us. We share in that, but we do hope that we can encourage everybody to enjoy this journey with them and see new sides to them. Like Sarah does not back down. Sarah is going to stay strong and firm, and you will watch this journey with Xander that you've never watched. It's a journey that's going to take some time, but she promises he evolves in a way that you've never seen him evolve before. Telfer adds that this tragic destruction that Xander's wrought will mean changes for his character, real ones. He knows there are a ton of fans who think Xander deserves to be in jail, not just for Philip, but for all the wrongs he's done in the past. And it looks like those fans may get their wish as Xander's arrested in today's episode. But, as Telfer exclaims, he's been in jail. It didn't work. Jail can't fix Xander. Xander needs to be punished in a way that he actually feels. And the way he's gonna feel, it is really losing Sarah, really losing his daughter, and really being forced to contend with who he actually is. If the writers want an actual reckoning for him, or even just a softening of his character, Xander's portrayer points out, it actually has to be earned. You can't just say, I'm trying to be better, and not be better. You have to take concrete steps that can be noticed by different characters and earned. It's so important for the longevity of characters to have them be well-rounded, Godfrey jumps in to explain, and Xander, I think, is missing this one little piece, and now they're taking the time to put that into the character. It's a slow growth. But that just means that this little piece that is needed to be a really well-rounded character is so earned that when it does feel cemented, it doesn't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. In the past, Telfer explains, Xander's mostly just charmed us into thinking his darkness was gone. I think that's why this recent episode with Philip was so shocking, he says. Much of the audience had just been a bit bamboozled by Xander, but being charming is not the same as being good. Since he's charming, he can walk into one room and be a certain way and within a few seconds, snap and be basically a different way. There won't be real growth until he's at the point where he can actually walk into one room and consistently be the person that he is, instead of letting whatever stress or perceived slight or insult make him fly off the handle. It's like Maggie told him in no uncertain terms on Monday. Xander's not the only one capable of feeling rage. Maggie had that coursing through her own body as she put Xander in his place and reminded him that if she was a match for Victor, she's a match for him. But at the same time, she pointed out, Maggie doesn't let that rage drive her to do the unspeakable things he does. Truly decent people aren't good just when they're happy or content. It was a stunningly obvious, yet powerful realization, maybe even for us. And so what's happened, Telfer previews with the hindsight of filming 8 months in advance, is the last few months since the big blow-up. It feels like the first time that an actual, sincere effort is being made. Not for him to become a better person, but just for him to acknowledge the bad properly and dramatize and explain some of that. Xander's been walking a tightrope for ages between wanting to be a better person and flirting with his darkest instincts. This isn't the first crime he's committed since supposedly turning over a new leaf, And while brutal, beating Philip kind of pales in comparison to actually trying to murder him and Brady. Xander came out of both those attempts only because he was stopped by someone or something. This time, there's no charming his way back onto the tightrope. And now that he's fallen off, Xander has no choice but to find his footing on the ground, for better or for worse. And stay tuned, because Godfrey and Telfer have a whole lot more to say about Sarah's future, Sarah's evolution before our eyes, and how even they were devastated at the latest twist. In the DeMera mansion, we pick up from yesterday, with Rachel telling Kristen about seeing Johnny fighting with Uncle EJ, a gun in hand. She insists it was real, and Kristen wants to know why she didn't say anything months ago. Rachel didn't want to get Johnny in trouble. Plus, Uncle EJ kidnapped Grandma. He got what he deserved. Kristen sighs and says she doesn't really want Uncle EJ hurt. When pressed, Rachel admits she didn't see Johnny do the shooting. She got scared and ran upstairs. She went back to sleep and doesn't remember hearing a gunshot. If Johnny didn't do anything bad, Kristen says, they should keep this to themselves. She adds that the secret's been eating Rachel up for a long time. She told her mommy now, so maybe she'll feel better. Rachel clutches her stomach and cries that she feels worse, so Kristen pulls her in to hold her. Brady checks in with Kayla at the hospital, but she doesn't have good news about John. He's holding steady, but he's in very critical condition. He decides to hold off on seeing his dad when Kayla tells him Marlena is still in there, then asks if she's heard anything about Bo. Kayla says the infection hasn't just stopped spreading, it's starting to resolve, but they have to wait and see if it repairs his organ damage. Brady then moves on to the board meeting. After all that's happened, neither know if voting for Xander is the right choice anymore. Just then, Kristen calls Brady saying she's going to bring Rachel to the hospital to have her checked. The kid's hugging a pillow, looking terrified on the couch, and Kristen tells Brady that she doesn't think it's physical, but they got a lot to talk about. Jad is behind her desk, trying to figure out what to text Sean. She settles on telling him to feel better when Belle knocks on her door to talk about some cases. Jada offers her condolences for John, then jumps right to asking if Belle heard from Sean. No, Belle cautiously tells her. If he called out sick, he must be super sick. But Jada calls her bluff when she gets up to go check on Sean at home. Belle stops her, admitting she knows what's going on. She then fills Jada in on the Versavik saga, giving her just enough for Jada to realize Sean was at the meth lab fire. Belle reassures Jada Sean wasn't hurt, and that out of the way, they get on to work. Belle wants Jada to nail the bastard that attacked Philip. Belle's waiting for a warrant to get CCTV footage from the Salem Inn, and she spoke to someone who saw Xander in the square at the time of the attack. She only wants to force that person, though, if the CCTV footage doesn't come through. Jada needs a motive now, and Belle admits she might. No one, but she'd rather wait for Philip to wake up. They move on to EJ's case, and Jada admits there's been no progress besides Ava, and she doesn't think Ava actually did it. EJ's shooter could still be in Salem. Out in the square, EJ struggles to rise, his cane out of reach, when Chad sees him and runs over to help. EJ tells him about his near encounter with Johnny, then hears a gunshot in his head and flinches, saying he deserved it. Chad offers to talk to Johnny, but EJ insists it's Oak, and he's got to run off to the hospital board meeting before Xander gets a leg up. Before going, Chad asks if his brother had anything to do with the stolen drug. He snaps at Chad that he had nothing to do with it. Nor did he attack Philip if Chad was about to accuse him of that too. Now they need to close ranks. The DeMeras are weaker divided, and EJ needs Chad to vote for him for the hospital. They lost Stefano's company, but they can start a new chapter with the hospital. Chad promises his brother he can count on him. Xander to call Sarah from the pub, warning her that she better answer next time, and that she will not keep him from Victoria. Next, he calls Melinda about a custody case. She plays to win, even if she has to fight dirty. And he's all for that. After, he thinks back to happier times with Victoria, then makes a face, gets up and rushes out of the pub. Julie drops off EJ and Xander's proposals to Maggie, annoyed at having to pick between either of them. She notices Victor's portrait is gone and asks what happened. Xander happened. Maggie says it was stolen in a fit of anger, and Julie marvels that the portrait lasted as long as it did, since Constantine was the one who gave it to her. Irrational or not, seeing him over the mantel gave Maggie comfort. But Xander's anger was directed at Victor. Maggie fills Julie in on everything from Philip to Sarah ending the marriage, and if Xander attacked his brother, she doesn't want him anywhere near her family. Julie points out that if they vote for Xander and he attacked Philip, that'll screw the hospital over, and Maggie wonders how they can vote for EJ after all he's done. They head over to the hospital, and Kayla asks if they can go over the proposals on the table. There's no third option. The hospital's out of time. But Kayla says she's tired of Xander and EJ bullying everyone, and she has a plan, which is when Xander strides up behind her. He asks if Sarah's working, but Kayla brushes him off. Xander's incredulous, so Maggie jumps in telling him to stay the hell away from her daughter and granddaughter. Maggie, I'm very fond of you, but if you think I'm going to let you get away with meddling. Maggie, Julie, and Kayla all tell him he'll have to go through them to get to Sarah. Fine, but it'll be a different tune when he buys the hospital. EJ and Chad walk in then, and EJ reminds Xander it's if, not when. When the guys are all gone, Maggie thanks the ladies for having her back. Xander's been harassing Sarah nonstop. She's heartbroken, but at least they all know who they're dealing with now. Kayla then gets back to the plan, which is having the board vote anonymously, so neither EJ nor Xander will be able to bully anyone into submission. Chad wanders back over with some coffee and updates them on EJ and Xander's locations. Kayla says it's time to get the show on the road. Kristen and Brady are waiting with Rachel for Sarah at the hospital when their daughter leaves to get water. Kristen takes the opportunity to tell Brady what Rachel told her about the night EJ was shot. Brady wants to go to the police, but Kristen nixes that. It's not just Johnny. Kristen wants to protect Rachel and reminds Brady that CPS is still sniffing around them. We jump to later, after Sarah's taken Rachel for some tests. Brady doesn't think they can ignore this, so maybe he can go to Belle. Kristen hates that idea and makes him promise to not tell her before he runs off to the board meeting. Rachel gets back to her hospital room, tests done. Dr. Sarah told her that her stomach hurts when she gets upset too. She's feeling much better now, and Sarah gave her a kaleidoscope since it's close to her birthday, though Rachel doesn't know how she knows. Kristen makes a face and says she must have seen it on her chart. Belle runs into EJ at the hospital, where he offers his condolences over John. Their fights or not, EJ's always respected him. He wishes he could be half the father John is. They hug as Brady walks by, having heard EJ's claims and going off on him for his hypocrisy. As he gets more heated, he threatens EJ to stay away from John's room until Belle jumps in and tells him off. Brady calms down a bit, and EJ assures him he knows this is difficult for their family, then says Sydney and Sammy's plane had problems and was grounded. I'm well aware, Brady snaps. The ladies and Chad get back to the reception area, their votes locked in. The only one missing is Brady, but none of them feel good about either choice. They tell Brady they just need him. Then Xander strolls over making a crack about EJ bullying Brady to vote for him. No need to worry, Kayla tells them the vote is anonymous. She then pulls Brady away with the news that it's tied. The fate of the hospital is in his hands. Before anything can be decided, though, Jada shows up to arrest Xander in front of smug EJ. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 2 suggest that Marlena Evans could face losing John Black. Will Horton has a warning for Gabby Hernandez. Plus, Ari'S might be more deceptive than her mother realizes. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the Peacock soap opera. Even though everyone is holding out hope, John's health will decline. We know that through to the end of the week of May 26, John is hospitalized but still alive. However, as major characters return, chances are that John will pass away. That means Marlena will not only mourn the man she loved for decades, but will have to plan his funeral as well. It is teased that John could die on June 2, the same day as another character has an awakening. Just as John is losing his life, it seems Bo is getting his back. John is a hero and is part of the reason why Bo is even alive right now. As Bo gets out of his coma, he will learn details about his recovery, including John's role in it. When Bo learns that John has passed away, he will be filled with both gratitude and guilt. Bo will want to make the most of this second chance he has. Once Bo gets out of his coma, there will still be some recovery. However, Bo will happily reunite with Hope Brady, Sean Brady, and Sarah Brady Weston. At some point, Bo might want to face Marlena to thank her for John's sacrifice. Days of Our Lives spoilers for the week of June 2 reveal that Will could have a warning for Gaby. Will could tell Gabby that Ari'S has grown up to be quite deceptive. Fans already watched as she slipped out of the house and ended up in bed with Doug Williams' IUI. Meanwhile, Gabby was panicking about her daughter going missing. Then, Ari'S lied to her mother's face about where she had really been. So it sounds like Ari'S is going to be a real handful. Fans might also see Holly Jonas get jealous when she learns Doug slept with someone. However, there are signs that Holly could actually end up being taken hostage, most likely by the people that Doug still owes money to. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on Peacock to find out what is coming up next. John Black suffered serious injuries on DOL this week. Drake Hodgeston, who portrayed the character for almost 40 years, died in September 2024. Some fans believe the show intends to recast the role after noticing a significant hint. Days of Our Lives was a beloved program in homes nationwide for the 57 years it was broadcast on NBC. In 2022, the show made a permanent transition to the NBC Peacock streaming platform. Many viewers feared this marked the start of the end for the daytime series. Soap fans might remember that All My Children and One Life to Live were briefly brought back online after ABC canceled them in 2011. The NBC soap opera has also produced several online spin-offs on YouTube, including Chad and Abby in Paris, featuring Billy Flynn as Chad DeMera and Marcy Miller as Abigail DeMera. However, transitioning to Peacock might have been the best move. A recent report from Luminant indicates that the soap is not only surviving on the streaming platform but is thriving. It's outperforming most other original content available on Peacock. The data shows that Days of Our Lives ranked as the second most watched program on Peacock in 2024, with the popular dating series Love Island USA taking the top spot. This fall, the soap will celebrate its 60th season on air and has already secured a renewal for at least one additional season. Sadly, one longtime actor will not be present to commemorate the show's upcoming anniversary. Drake Hodgeston passed away in late 2024 after a private struggle with pancreatic cancer. He became part of the show in 1986, initially playing a character known as the Pawn, who was later renamed John Black. His role as an ISA agent was a consistent element in various storylines over the years. Recently, he went AWOL during a mission, causing his wife, Marlena Evans, to worry. John Black eventually made it back home. However, before he could reunite with his wife, he was summoned for another mission, one that was much more personal. Steve Johnson reached out to John for assistance in obtaining a drug that Bo Brady needed to survive. For a short period, John Black believed he was the brother of Bo, who is actually Roman Brady. Eventually, he discovered that he had no ties to the Brady family, yet he continued to feel like a brother to both Bo and Kayla Brady Johnson. After he entered the meth lab where the drugs were kept, an explosion occurred, resulting in severe burns for John Black. In Monday's episode, Steve informed Kayla that the life-saving medication was en route to Bo. He mentioned that if Bo pulls through, it will be thanks to John Black, who heroically shielded the experimental cure with his own body during the explosion, sustaining burns in the process. To the cast, crew, and fans of the long-running soap, actor Drake Hodgeston was cherished as a hero. Following his death, many of his co-stars shared their thoughts on how kind and beloved he was by all. However, some fans of the show noticed a typical sign on soap operas indicating that a character might be recast. Currently, John Black is in the hospital, covered in bandages. Usually, this suggests plastic surgery and a new actor stepping into the role. So is DOOL planning to recast John Black? The actor's final scene was shown a few weeks before he passed away on September 24. Everyone hoped the actor would overcome cancer and come back to the show. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. The individual wrapped in bandages is a stand-in named Alan Wayne Anderson, although fans insist they heard Drake Hodgeston's voice when John Black spoke before being burned. To be fair, he might have recorded a voiceover remotely, but this hasn't been confirmed, and one source denied it. The exact circumstances of John Black's death remain a secret, but it is likely due to his serious burns. However, he will die. The show does not plan to recast the role. The preview for this week shows several of John Black's loved ones coming back to Salem to say their final farewells. Chandler Massey and Christy Clark will reprise their roles as Will Horton and Carrie Brady. Viewers can look forward to many flashbacks of John Black and plenty of genuine tears from the cast as they mourn their cherished co-star. From watching the episode of May 26, it did seem that the actor's tears were genuine even though John didn't pass on screen just yet. He had coded but was brought back. Since these scenes were recorded 9 months ago, it was at a time when it was confirmed Drake wouldn't be able to return. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, May 29, indicate some bombshells on the horizon in Salem. Someone spills a secret, while a character has a request for their ex, and two men vie to control the future of the town's hospital. What's set to unravel on Thursday's show? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, May 29, suggest that Maggie Kyriakis will confide in Julie Williams about something. So it looks like she'll spill the beans on what Xander Kyriakis did to Philip Kyriakis. Julie will likely keep it to herself, or will she? Xander is set to get arrested this week, so will it happen during Thursday's show? Speaking of, Belle Black will fill in Jada Hunter with the latest information she has. Is this about her conversation with Alex Kyriakis during the May 28 show? Across town, Xander and DeMera will be on pins and needles awaiting the board's decision on who will take control of University Hospital. The day's preview for this week shows Xander getting arrested in the middle of the hospital. So will the board vote his way, only for him to get shipped to jail? Lastly, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday reveal that Brady Black makes a request to Kristen DeMera, but will she grant it? Is this about John Black and the fact that he's on his deathbed? Or could this request center on Rachel Black? Either way, will Kristen help Brady with whatever he's asking for? The two haven't been on the same page lately, but haven't exactly been at each other's throats either. If Kristen learns about John, her heart may soften, which means she'll say yes to his request. What storyline are you most interested in seeing unfold during Thursday's show? Share your thoughts. Tune into the Peacock Soap Daily so you don't miss a moment of the drama, and visit SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives spoilers, updates, and news. Because her son needed her, Allison Sweeney brought Sami back to Days of Our Lives to help Johnny deal with his horrific discovery. After sharing her perspective on EJ's actions, she left Salem once again. The fans are hoping she'll return as the city mourns the loss of John Black, but in the meantime, they have another way to get more Sweeney in their lives. She recently revealed a new project she's working on with Hallmark's Ashley Williams. Sweeney shared a photo of her and Williams on Instagram that served as a logo card for My More, with Ali Sweeney and Ashley Williams. Along with that was the announcement. So, at Ashley Williams & Company, and I had so much fun filming #to Barcelona together that we wanted to share the process with all of you. The first 2 episodes of our podcast about our experience come out tomorrow. I put the link to Apple in my bio, but it's on all the major platforms. Like and subscribe. While Sweeney has been working on new installments of her Hannah Swenson mysteries for Hallmark, she and Williams also have a couple of films coming out that they co-star in, including To Barcelona with Love and To Barcelona Forever. With the advent of this new podcast, fans will get an exclusive peek behind the scenes of the making of these films. One fan, confident in their project, eagerly commented, "I already know it's going to be a winner." Overall, her followers wrote that they not only couldn't wait for the films, but the podcast as well. Another viewer excitedly praised the actresses with, "It will be a great movie. You two are a great combination." And among all the accolades and excitement for Sweeney's new projects, one fan commented, "Give a girl the right shoes and she can conquer the world." That quote is sometimes attributed to the legendary Marilyn Monroe, but could also be interpreted as reflective of Sweeney's own journey of strength and empowerment. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Friday, May 30 bring Will home to John's bedside, where he joins the rest of Marlena's family to pray for the dad and granddad they all love. Will rushes to Marlena's side. John may not have been Will's biological grandfather, but that didn't matter. If John could love Sami as his own, even after all the horrible things she said to him over the years, loving Will was easy. Will joins Brady, Belle, Paul, and Eric as they all share memories of good times and bad. Get ready for the flashbacks and the tears as everyone relives the life of John Black and the man who played him. Ija reminding Kristen that she once passed him off as her child with John, then went on to share a child with John's son, Brady, was a wonderful reminder of just how messed up the Salem timeline is. But it's just another day in the DeMera family. Same as EJ offering to trade Kristen's mother for her getting Brady to support EJ buying up University Hospital. But Brady is busy right now, and it's not like he listens to Kristen anyway. So EJ doesn't feel moved to do his sister any favors or to give up any leverage he has over her. Kristen, however, feels moved to yell at him about it. Johnny is very upset about John, but not so upset that he forgets to make the occasion about himself. Johnny feels bad that he is estranged from his father while going through this trauma, so he is not getting the support everyone else is. Johnny is mad at his dad. He also might have shot him. With the slew of upcoming Days of Our Lives returns, will we see Sami make her way back to Salem as everyone says goodbye to John? It's about to be a heartbreaking time in Salem. While Marlena holds vigil at her husband's bedside, we all know the inevitable is on its way. After Drake Hoggeston's passing last September, the actor agreed to the soap killing off his legendary character. John is going out a hero after retrieving the miracle drug that saved Beau's life. Marlena, of course, isn't alone in all this. Starting this week, we'll see beloved Salemites return to say a final goodbye to John. Eric will soon be on his way, while Carrie arrived on May 28 and will return on May 30. But the question remains, where is Sami? Sami was last seen in Salem back in April after EJ was shot, and Johnny learned the devastating truth about how he was conceived. But Sami's visit didn't last long, spanning just a couple of days. Secret pregnancy, anyone? Co-head writers Paula Quickly and Jean Marie Ford confirmed to TV Insider that not only would Sweeney be bringing Sami back to Salem for John's memorial, but later this year when the soap celebrates its 60th anniversary. In the Thursday, May 29 episode of Days of Our Lives, the hospital board has voted, well, almost all of them. There's only one person who hasn't exercised his right to choose who buys Salem University Hospital, and that's Brady. The fact that he waited so long may work in his favor, however. When Xander gets arrested for Philip's attack, does this mean Brady will feel he can no longer vote for his family? Julie's 2 cents provided some humor, as she alluded to the hospital board being between a rock and a hard place. Our vote is that Xander is the rock and EJ is the hard place. According to her, this is also a lose-slash-lose situation, which also appropriately describes what's going on. In addition, the phrase "the lesser of two evils" made a comeback. For the moment, EJ may be the lesser of two evils, considering his most recent crimes mostly happened months ago. And it's only been days since Xander beat Philip within an inch of his life. Kayla came up with a great idea. She talked the board into making the vote anonymous. This way, bullies Xander and EJ couldn't intimidate the board members. But more importantly, they won't be able to retaliate for those who voted against them. Although, Kayla, maybe you should learn to whisper better if you take Brady aside and tell him that he's the deciding vote. What worked in his favor, however, was the fact that before he could cast his vote, Jada showed up and placed Xander under arrest for Philip's attack. Undoubtedly, the Salem PD finally got hold of the CCTV at the Salem Inn, which probably showed Xander in the hotel at the time of Philip's vicious beatdown.